one of the things that we often deal with as trumpet players, that I think kind of all of us deals with to some degree, is lip swelling, right? Especially having our top lip swell. And if you're an upstream player where you tend to play with maybe a little bit more pressure on your top lip than your bottom lip, this can be a real problem. But it affects everybody. I just had recently had someone ask me about this on a comment on another video I made. And I want to share this thing that I recently learned. I think I've heard it a little bit over the years, but I most recently saw it again in Brad Goode's video that he did at the clinic that he did at Austin Custom Brass. And I'll throw the link to that in the comments here because it's definitely worth a watch. So, but Brad talks about the critical part of playing the trumpet when we begin is before we put the mouthpiece on our face, that we need to flex our embouchure to kind of get it ready, you know? So you need to not like, you don't want it tight. You don't want it like tight, you know, you don't want it like it's just like clamped down. You just want it flexed, you know. Think about if you're, you know, people often use the analogy of if someone's going to hit you in the stomach, how you're going to sort of like firm up and be ready for that. It's a little bit like that. It doesn't be rock hard like that. I have often used the analogy with students that, like, you know, if we had a hammer in our hand and we were going to hammer something, we wouldn't just like hold it loosely, you know, where the hammer's just like flopping around. But we also wouldn't give it the death grip, you know, as we hammer it. If you're a golfer, when you're gripping the golf club, you know that you can't just hold it just like so loose that the club is waggling around, you know, like wobbling in your hands. But you also don't want to hold it so firmly that like you're just giving a death grip on it, which is something that a lot of us do if we play golf, right? But you just need to like hold it firmly. Same thing with the trumpet. But the important thing here, and like listen to this, remember this, you need this flex, you need to put that flex in before the mouthpiece touches your face. Because once that mouthpiece is on your face, that essentially acts like a tourniquet on your chops, and your everything inside that rim is going to be set. And so if you set it on flabby chops and then try to firm up, everything inside of that rim is basically going to be flabby. And that's not what you need. It's going to cause it to swell more quickly. Okay? So how do we firm up? We use the muscles of expression. And if you haven't heard that phrase, I've used it a couple times before, but without really explaining it. But the muscles of expression are the muscles in our face that allow us to do all this kind of stuff. Like it's that stuff, right? Those are the muscles of expression. So we use the muscles of expression to firm up the musculature around our embouchure. Not tight. We're not pulling it back to smile or anything. We're not squeezing it together. It's just firm. Like that, just firm. And then on that firm foundation is what we're setting the mouthpiece to. And then as you need to breathe, you do one of two things. If you have time, you can take the mouthpiece off, breathe, firm, set. Now in the beginning, it'll take you a little bit to get that coordination, but I promise you quickly you'll develop that coordination. If you have to take quick breaths, then you leave the mouthpiece set, you essentially leave the firmness, and you just open the corners of your mouth and you breathe through the corners. This is a Reinhardt thing. Why do you breathe through the corners? It keeps you from messing up the center here. It keeps you from distorting the center. You can keep the center basically in whatever position that you like it in, whatever, based on your volume, whatever you've got kind of going on there. That stays set, and then everything else here. And it keeps that firmness in the center without having to like completely reset all the time. So if you've got lots of breaks, like you definitely, having the mouthpiece off your face will allow the blood flow to run through there, bring in blood sugars and oxygen. It will help to eliminate the swelling and the lactic acid that builds up in there. Another good tip for doing that. That's designed to flutter that through there to get the lactic acid out. So if you've got the time to do that. Also though, like if you've ever watched videos of John Faddis, you'll see a lot of times with him that, and John is like one of my favorite players, especially like high note players. Like I think he's amazing. I love hearing him play. But with John, a lot of times you'll see that like he'll get something set, and he's an upstream player too. He'll get something set, and as he's counting through the rest, this is all set, and he's just holding that horn in that spot, and he's just waiting, you know. And then when it's time to come in, he's coming in on some, you know, double Q sharp or whatever. But when he finds that good set, he just leaves it up there rather than like doing a lot of this, because you don't always get it right back in the right position. So if you find a good one, good set, he'll often kind of leave it there. So that can be like another thing. If you've got something, this feels good, I'm in the right spot, I'm just going to kind of leave it right here, or it could be down, whatever you're playing, however you play, you know. But just kind of set it that way. But yeah, the key to reducing that swelling is just a little bit of that embouchure flex, using the muscles of expression in your corners here. Again, not tight, not squeezed, just kind of flexed, and then put the mouthpiece onto that flexed embouchure. It'll help to reduce your swelling, increasing your endurance, and increasing all the things that you can do on the trumpet. Friends, hope that helps.